Good afternoon, everybody. Please be seated. The Logan School welcomes you all on this very special day, the day of the inauguration of our school. Welcome to friends, family, and visitors. Welcome to our students. But the most important welcome goes to you, the continuing class of 2009. Mary Cornish, a contemporary American poet, writes, "I like the generosity of numbers, the way, for example, they are willing to count anything or anyone. 2 pickles, 1 door to a room, 8 dancers dressed as swans." So I help us begin our poignant task today. Our students are ready to be counted. And we are readying ourselves to say goodbye to 31 wonderful students, the largest class we've ever had at the Logan School. We bid farewell to these students with whom we have shared the joy of learning for 218 Logan School years. These have been years of work, of laughter, of pride and accomplishment, of marvelous experiences at this institution we call school, and more lovingly and specifically because of this place we call the Logan School for Creative Learning. When I wrote this, I thought there must be a unique way to say goodbye to this particular continuing class. I looked at their names, attempting to count them within specific groups to help us all remember. Yet I soon realized it was impossible to create any one word to categorize the students you see here. Like any other year, each student is unique. And so each will be counted by her or his specific and special qualities. Please say goodbye to the readers, the swimmers, the gigglers, and the talkers, the public speakers, the researchers, the artists, and the scientists, and celebrate those who were lucky enough to begin their camping experiences here, who learned to love the out of doors. We must also acknowledge those who came later and also experienced that Logan teaches the best way of learning, lifelong learning. Be sure to say farewell to those who represented Logan in theater, both on stage and off, in science and math competitions, at basketball games, in poetry groups, at the Grace Apartments, and at the Gathering Place. These students have gathered at picnics, Halloween parties, and parades, coffee houses, trips near and trips far. Though it is bittersweet, we realize they are accomplished people in our world and are ready to venture into the wider one. We are so proud of them and are seeing them off as the best representatives we could have at the Logan School. Another poet, William Stafford, writes, "You reading this? Be ready. Starting here, what do you want to remember? How sunlight creeps across a sunlit floor? What scent of old wood hovers? What softened sound from outside fills the air? Will you ever bring a better gift for the world than the breathing respect that you carry wherever you go right now? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? When you turn around, starting here, lift this new glimpse that you found Carry into evening all that you want from this day. This interval you spent hearing this, keep it for life. What can anyone give you greater than now, starting here, right in this room, when you turn around? Thank you. Rich Rinaldi, as chair of the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to certify with my colleagues Max McClay and Jamie Newton that these continuing students have met the requirements for the continuers of the Logan School. May I present the Logan School class of 2009.
On behalf of the Logan community, I accept the continuing class of 2009. Congratulations. Woody Guthrie comes to mind when I think about the class that's continuing today. And you guys can look up who that is a little bit later. Woody must have had the Logan extended field trip schedule when he wrote his most famous song, when he said, "This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me." Well, the Logan students didn't quite make it to the Gulf Stream waters, Jamie, but they sure gave it a good try and got as close as possible. It is an opening stanza of a song full of hope and promise, and today I see that same hope and promise in all the faces of the students that are continuing. This has been a year of dramatic change, a year of some fearful news about the state of our country and the world. And these students captured many of these issues very well in their yearbook. And you will be able to look back on this time as you go forward and think about these tumultuous times. But there's no doubt that you're all very smart and very talented young people. But as I believe you have learned here at Logan, your future success will be closely tied to how you treat each other and how you develop your own personal standards. As I said to you the other night at the continuation dinner, I've been so impressed by this class and mostly about how they treat each other. But I'm also so proud of how you have treated those around you and the broader community. There are women and children today at the gathering place who are better off because of your service. There are children in Nepal who have better school supplies and a better life because of your service. And there are families right down the street in the Grace Apartments whose transition to living in America has been made easier because of their service. You are gifted, but maybe not in the sense that we use that word here at Logan. You are gifted because you have family and friends who love you and believe in you and will do almost anything to help you succeed. That is a gift. Please cherish it and make sure you try to live up to it every day. While we all may know the first stanza of "This Land is Your Land," there's another stanza near the end of the song where Woody Guthrie sings, "In the shadow of the steeple, I saw my people. By the relief office, I've seen my people. As they stood there hungry, I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me?" This might be a good question to keep asking yourselves as you move on to high school and on to college and on to your careers. If you continue to use these gifts that you have, that you've learned here at Logan and that your parents have helped you develop, I am confident that you all will find ways to make sure that this is a land for all Americans. When Martha and I came to Logan 9 years ago, our daughter Sophia was in preschool. I went and I visited the AS classrooms to see what the 7th and 8th grade girls were doing. I figured that when you choose a school, you were really choosing the end product, the kind of student and person you wanted your child to become after spending 9 years at the school. I remember seeing young women engaged in their learning, confident in their abilities, willing to shake my hand and communicate with me directly and clearly, and I was very impressed. Martha and I are happy to report that Logan has delivered on the promise for our daughter. And just because we know them a little better, from my observations, Logan has delivered for the other girls in Sophia's continuing class today. And to the boys in the continuing class, I have to apologize because first, I'm a father, and second, I'm the board chair. So my analysis comes to you only as someone who potentially might call and ask for a date. And that bar is very high. But seriously, I'm pretty sure that Sophia and the girls in this class will never again be amongst a group of young men who are as respectful and funny and interesting and confident and smart. And as a father, I am incredibly thankful that you were among her classmates. So on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, I want to wish you all the best and let you know that you always have a home here at Logan and come visit us often. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for those kind words, Rich. And now Anita Boland and the Logan Singers have a gift of music for us all. Thank you all. That was so wonderful. And now, as a gift to the continuing class of 2009, an original poem by Aspen Clark.
So this is a poem I wrote for the continuing class, and it's called Good Morning to Forever. Let's see if I can get it open now. Good morning to forever. The call, which repeats itself like waves on a shoreline, beckons. Come, my dear birds, time seems to say, and they, with feathers splayed like eager children's fingers for an ice cream cone, fly. Good evening to eternity. The whisper, which sounds just a bit like a snake, makes the birds hesitate. Like moonbeams trapped in a mirror at dawn, they do not want to go, but, brushing their hands against the reflection for an instant too long, vanish. Farewell to sheltered years. The promise, which rings like glass through the fragile minds of the now freed sparrows, seems a song. Like the piling of clouds, who bundle themselves like sheep along the sky on erstwhile quests and whisper among each other and listen to the wind, sing. Goodbye to familiar faces. The truth, which presses like fire into the flying ones' hearts, would weep. An island, never found, but always having existed, who, upon discovery, finds it does not want birds upon it, and burns. Hello to new unplanned stories. They will write themselves, whether with consent or by their own will. Hello, new birds, whose fledgling feathers give way to incandescent colors like stained glass. Good morning to forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Aspen. Well, I thought that the last 2 years since on the program I'm listed as Words of Wisdom, I always thought it'd be better if I chose someone else's words to begin my part of the presentation. And this year I'm carrying on the tradition. So I'm going to begin by reading you all a poem by Tom Hennon. It's called The Life of a Day. The Life of a Day by Tom Hennon. Like people or dogs, each day is unique and has its own personality quirks, which can easily be seen if you look closely. But there are so few days as compared to people, not to mention dogs, that it would be surprising if a day were not 100 times more interesting than most people. But usually they just pass, mostly unnoticed, unless they are wildly nice, like autumn ones full of red maple trees and hazy sunlight, or if they are grimly awful ones in a winter blizzard that kills the lost traveler and bunches of cattle. For some reason, we like to see days pass, even though most of us claim we don't want to reach our last one for a long time. We examine each day before us with barely a glance and say, no, this isn't one I've been looking for, and wait in a bored sort of way for the next, when we are convinced our lives will start for real. Meanwhile, this day is going by perfectly well adjusted, as some days are, with the right amounts of sunlight and shade, and a light breeze scented with the perfume made from the mixture of fallen apples, corn stubble, dry oak leaves, and the faint odor of last night's meandering skunk. So, the poem itself reminds me a little bit of these past few weeks. I'm not so sure about the skunk line, but we can work it in. I know that for all of you, they've been a time of reflection. While all of you, I'm sure, have reflected upon some big happenings in your years here recently, be it expos, extended trips, obstacle course competitions, and the like, I'm struck by how many of you have also reflected upon how you will miss the day-to-day events which made your time here special. Be it a chat in the UFA with friends before the start of the day, a funny inside joke that made the rounds throughout the whole AS, settling into a cozy spot to write that short story when inspiration struck, returning again and again to an ongoing unit project until it felt just right. Did you make sure you double mounted? Having deep conversations as you circled the track at lunch recess, a compliment or a good morning from a teacher, or even sitting down and having a chat about nothing really related to school at all at your teacher's desk, or puzzling over a math problem with a colleague. It seems as we reach the end of our time someplace, we can miss the day-to-day things just as much as the big events. Each and every one of you is now poised to move on to bigger and better. You're all going places where you will have an opportunity to experience many of the big things that you've always looked forward to when you thought about high school. But do remember, as you look ahead to those milestones, sometimes it's the day-to-day events and happenings that can make a place special, just like this place. My hope is that as your memories of this time in your life fade away, from time to time you will still remember the ordinary things that made this a special place to learn and grow, and that you will continue to appreciate all that your new institutions will give to you every day. Don't wait complacently for those big things to arrive. Revel in all that high school, and life for that matter, has to offer every day. Good luck, everyone. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. Many of you already know Libby Berkey as one of the Upper IS core teachers, a position she has held here for the past 8 years. But many of you may or may not know that she, along with her husband Brad, also operate a nonprofit restaurant called the Same Cafe. SAME is an acronym that means so all may eat. The idea is that everyone, regardless of their ability to pay, deserves a chance to eat a healthy meal in a wonderful setting. Brad and Libby's idea was hatched 7 years ago, and in October, they will celebrate their 3-year anniversary. Over the past 2+ years, they have served over 30,000 meals and logged in over 5,000 volunteer hours. Many of those were contributed by Logan students, families, and teachers. The idea behind SAME, service, kindness, respect for all, is very similar to the values that we here at Logan also hold dear, which is why we have asked Libby to speak with you all today. Not to mention that 14 members of this continuing class also were once members of Libby's class, including each and every one of the continuing students in my classroom this year. So, I would like to welcome my friend and colleague, and this year's keynote speaker, Miss Libby Berkey.
Thanks so much for asking me to be here today. I'm honored to be your speaker. I've seen many a celebration of continuation, but I have to say the view from up here is a little different than the bleachers. As Jamie just said, I'm a core teacher here at Logan during the day, but I do lead a double life. At night and on weekends, some people know me as the co-founder and executive director of Same Cafe. My husband Brad and I started this restaurant because of a need we saw in the community to serve the working poor. Many years ago, when we began thinking about the idea of a restaurant where there were no prices on the menu, we realized what a risk we were taking. It was such a different idea. No one in our circle of friends and family had ever heard of a restaurant where anyone could come and eat, whether they had money or not, let alone work for their food. Lots of people had lots of questions. Some people passed judgment and thought we were nuts. Well, I'd have to say there is a little bit of craziness in anyone who follows their dreams. But we thought this crazy idea was the best way to give back to our community, the best way for us to make a difference. We knew it wasn't going to be an easy adventure, but we also realized it was so important. President Barack Obama puts it this way: making your mark on the world is hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. It takes patience, it takes commitment, and it comes with plenty of failure along the way. The real test is not whether you avoid this failure, because you won't. It's whether you let it harden or shame you into inaction, or whether you learn from it, whether you choose to persevere. When Brad and I were talking about opening Same Cafe, we were confronted with the big choice. Should we take the easier route and continue living as we were and hope that someone else would do something to address the issues and problems that we recognized? Or should we choose to tackle the problems ourselves by risking it all and changing our lives as we knew it? The realization soon came to us that we would really have no choice. We were not going to be truly happy unless we made the attempt to create and open the cafe. Sure, the risk of failure was present, as was the risk of ridicule and the fear of the unknown, but none of those was scarier to us than facing the regret of never having tried to make a difference in the first place. Gandhi once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." Keep that in mind as you continue on to the next stage of your life. If you want change to happen, you might have to have the courage to do something about it yourself. I love the famous starfish story. Do any of you know it? It goes something like this. An old man saw a boy tossing stones into the ocean. On further inspection, he realized the boy was tossing starfish back into the ocean. The old man looked up and noticed that there were miles of shoreline and thousands of starfish that washed up on the shore to be tossed back into the ocean. The old man stated to the young boy, "You can't possibly make a difference." At that, the young man bent down, picked up yet another starfish, and threw it into the ocean. As it met the water, the boy said, "It made a difference to that one." As students of the Logan School, there is so much in this life that you are capable of. The power you have to give back and make positive change in your communities is endless. You've already shown that. Thomas Edison once said, "If we did things we are capable of, we would astound ourselves." To me, this statement is especially true of you. For me as a teacher, and for all of us as teachers here at Logan, it's so exciting to see our former students venture out into the world and watch as you continue to grow and give back. So as you do prepare to leave the Logan School and continue on to whatever lies in store for you next, try to remember these things. It's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to fail. Even Babe Ruth struck out hundreds of times. What is important is that you have the courage to try. And there is no better feeling in the world than knowing that you have made a difference, even if it is just one person's life that you touch. In closing, when you look back on your life 95 years from now, yeah, I realize it would make you about 110, but some of you are going to figure out how to make us live longer. It will not matter what high school or college you went to, or how big your office was at your last job. What will matter most is the impact you had on the people around you. I am so excited to hear about what you, the class of 2009, are going to do to change the world. Thank you.
We have another gift of music today from one of our continuing students, Alex Bacon. He will be performing Coldplay's "Don't Panic."
Bones sinking like stones all the day for half All these places we've grown, all of us are done for. And we live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do, yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful world. Bones sinking like stones, all that we fall for. All these places we've grown, all of us are done for. And we live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do, yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful world. We live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do, yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful world. Oh, all that I know, there's nothing here to run from. 'Cause yeah, everybody here has got somebody to lean on. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And now I would like to introduce our head of school, Andrew Slater, who will be introducing the class of 2009.
Almost. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who come alive. These are the words of Dr. Howard Thurman. He was a noted early civil rights leader and prominent African American. Dr. Howard grew up in the segregated South in the early years of the last century. Before becoming the Dean of Theology at Howard and Boston universities, and becoming the first Black to be tenured at a predominantly white school, Dr. Thurman was a Christian missionary. During his life as a missionary, he met with Gandhi and learned of the power of nonviolence. He then took this message back to the US and wrote a book entitled Jesus and the Disinherited, which in turn became an inspiration for Dr. Martin Luther King. As we all know, Dr. King took this message and turned it into the Second American Revolution. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. I would argue that it is only those who are truly alive who impact this world. People who make a difference are people who pursue their dreams with passion. Do what you care about. Do what matters to you and commit to it with everything you can. When I've been the most inspired by you, the most touched by who you are and what you've done, is when you've chosen to follow your passions, when you've chosen to come alive. Whether it was at Expo or hearing about a trip or watching you on stage or even watching you play. It is only when you fully commit yourself that you're able to reach your potential. And the potential within each of you is limitless. At times, pursuing your passions will be hard, but if you take the path without challenges, it probably won't lead anywhere important. Very soon now, you will leave the confines of Logan and will begin the next phase of your life. You will have many choices and many paths. Some will be easy and some will be harder. Some will take a short amount of time and others will take your entire lifetime. But when you follow your passions and your deep concerns, your choices will always be right. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Thank you. It is time for the conferring of the certificates. So I ask Linda and Jamie and Max to begin the presentations.
Jacqueline Kimmel.
I'm gifted. A simple self-description, yet it can explain so much about someone. Sorry.
But they don't use microphones a lot.
Well, I suppose I shouldn't generalize. I've only known gifted people from Logan, but the people I've met here could give me examples for a lifetime. My examples involve all the people you see sitting here, and many more people who have walked through Logan's front doors. I found it really challenging for people to understand us. Teachers, by their first names? Doesn't that make you feel weird? Wait, why would she just make random noises like that? Jacqueline, who cares if it's not straight? My friend Marita has said each of these things, totally unaware of the environment and the amazing, yet sometimes horrifying things that go on here every day. We sing in math class, we obsess over trifolds for expo, we go across the country for trips. We pretty much decide everything we want to learn. We throw monkeys at our teachers, we give wedding ceremonies for chickens, and we definitely make some weird noises. And the scary thing for me to realize is, I find this all perfectly normal and sane. I am a Loganite through and through, and I can't imagine it being at any other school other than this one, but I know I am ready to leave. And so I am standing up here to thank everyone who has helped me make my Logan journey and who has made me so unique. Firstly, my mother. Thank you for pulling all those Sunday night crunches with me, caring so much about everything involving me, and letting me sing harmony during Duke of Earl, cat style. My dad for being there to help me, whether it be with math or getting the 4th cartridge the week before Expo. My sister Allie for being so supportive. And all my friends. You contributed so much to my weirdness, you just have no idea. I'd also like to thank all my previous teachers, from Rachel to Max. You have helped me so much. All my little buddies, Devin, Mia, Charner, and Eva. I promised myself for 8 years that I would mention you and watch you squirm excitedly in your seats. I'd also like to thank Justine, Belinda, Nicole, David, Kelly, Denise, and everyone else who has helped me along the way. In leaving Logan, I feel like I'm leaving a bit of myself. I'm leaving memories and many unusual traditions. For example, if I try to get shaving cream on my new math teacher, they might get a little bit upset. But while I cannot bring shaving cream, I can bring some very important things from Logan. My love of learning, my curiosity about everything, and the fact that I dream big. And I hope that I can make everyone who helped me proud of where I end up. I want to share with the world that I am different, I am gifted, and I am ready to take on the next step in my life.
George Woodliff Stanley.
Logan, you saved my life. As some of you know, I was born in Mississippi. My preschool there, the Montessori School at St. James, was a place where I felt truly at home. But a similar place for me to learn and grow was something that the little town of Jackson, Mississippi, simply did not have to offer in its elementary schools. During my single semester at Boyd Elementary, I literally ran and hid from my teacher. I locked myself in the bathroom for hours, and I got myself in trouble just to gain access to the peace and quiet of being alone in timeout. These were all very real things that I did, thanks to the very real problems I was having with a teacher who did not understand me and a community that did not accept me as a unique individual. So to start out, I would like to thank my parents, Ruth and Nathan Woodless Stanley, for immediately recognizing the signs of a nearly suicidal 6-year-old, and for being willing to uproot our entire lives without much sense of direction for the sake of saving me. Again, thank you for moving your lives and your careers and your possessions all the way across the country so that I could have a place to call home. I can't express with words how much I love you and how much I appreciate your dedication to standing by me every step of the way. I would also like to thank my little brother John for always being so enthusiastic about spending time with me, especially after all the times I told him I was too busy to play with him, even when it wasn't true. John, we all become more independent over time, but that doesn't mean I'll ever lose any of my immense love and care for you. I'll miss your little boyish attitude as you grow and mature, but I can't wait to see how you change and who you become. My whole family holds a special place in my heart and always will. This is also true of my extended family, especially of the people who have been most present to my life out here in Denver. Nana, you have devoted yourself to coming out to Denver to spend a month with us every single summer. You have been the most generous and loving grandmother I could possibly ask for, and without your help, coming to Logan would not have been possible. Two other members of my extended family who have been especially present to me are my cousins, Dan and Max Woodliff. Time and time again, you chose to spend your Christmas or Thanksgiving with us, sometimes even being my grandpeople for Grandpeople's Day. Dan, you always brought so much joy and energy to the house, and Max, you have been an inspirational role model to me throughout my time here. Now I would like to thank two very special people, the people who have stuck with me through everything, my closest friends, Carter and William. Carter, you have taught me things about myself that have forever influenced the way I live and the way I think. William, you have never let me down. You have always been a true friend and always looked out for me even when I haven't done the same for you. Without you guys, I wouldn't be the same person I am today. The people here at Logan have understood me. They have accepted me as a unique individual. This is the greatest gift I could ever ask for. To all of my teachers, especially the one who welcomed me into this wonderful community with the utmost warmth and compassion, Marissa, and the one who is sending me off with the tools I need to find my place in the world, Linda, thank you. You have helped to shape me. David, Julie, and Anita, you have helped me become involved in theater, something I was originally hesitant to pursue, and you have all been great friends and teachers throughout the time I've worked with you. Mark, you've taught me so many computer acronyms that I'm going to need another acronym to remember them all. And Eric, you've made learning math fun. Patty, thank you for supplying a great swell of love for this entire community and being the heart and soul of this school. And thank you to those whose life lessons I will never forget, even after they have long since left the school. Justine Zolo, Delinda Rose, Lisa Lucera, Ellen Corrigan, and Marty Kaplan. You too have all been great sources of peace and happiness to me and to the entire Logan community during your time here. Thank you to everyone in the Logan community, including my buddies, Angie, Miles, and Parker. You were all excellent mentors to me. And Matt, John, Thomas, Jack, and Johan, you have never let me forget what it feels like to be little, even as I have grown and matured. Thank you to everyone here who has made a difference in my life. Life is a gift. It is easy to forget this when the stress and angst in our lives gets out of hand, but every second of our lives, even the bad ones, should be cherished and treasured for what they are, because you can never get them back. Life is so short, and this is why we should make the best of what we do get. And to fully enjoy life for what it is, we must allow ourselves to be who we want to be. It's shocking to realize how many parts of our society do not let us do this and restrict us to living in certain ways and being certain people. But this is something that Logan does not do. Logan lets each and every person develop into who they truly desire to be deep down in their heart. This is the greatest gift any community has ever given me, and so I leave with the sincere hope that this gift can be passed down from generation to generation, and that Logan will forevermore continue to shape remarkably unique human beings and continue to inspire them to go out and do wonderful things in our sacred and extraordinary world. Thank you.
Seneca Hens.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Congratulations. Today is my day. I'm off to great places. I'm off and away. My first year at Logan was in 2005. I walked up to the school alone, insistent that I was old enough to walk myself. The first person I saw was Patty with all her toys and gadgets. I tried to slink by unnoticed, but I ended up being sprayed with silly string multiple times. I was in Libby's class. She was a great teacher for me. She took no nonsense and kept me in line. I learned a lot about myself and Logan that year. I had tons of fun and made lots of new friends. Then too soon, it was the end of the year, and I found out I was going to be in Patty's class. I have brains in my head, I have feet in my shoes, I can steer myself any direction I choose. I'm on my own, and I know what I know, and I'm the girl who decides where to go. Patty's class. Wow, where to begin? Patty, there's only one way to describe you. Amazing and crazy. I learned so much from you. I think one of the biggest lessons I ever learned from you is not to wander off during work time. I remember you telling my parents, 1 second she's there, then you turn around and she's gone. I can see that now, but it took Patty half a year to drill it into my head. I was a shy person in Patty's class, constantly wondering why I was in AS. Still, I will never forget that year. I was transitioning from IS to AS and just trying to get used to everything and everyone. At the end of the year, I found out Patty wasn't going to teach next year. I was moved to Jamie's class. It was his first time being an AS teacher. There were so many jokes and games from his class I won't forget. The snowball intro game, or Jamie playing football with the guys, and when his team scored a touchdown, he pumped his fist into the air and shouted, "Oh yeah, represent." It was really funny. Or when we came back from our spring trip, the one song that played the most was Low by Flo Rida. Jamie was telling us sarcastically how clever it was that Flo Rida had the F backwards on his album art, like a gun to show his gangsterism. We all just looked at him and burst into laughter. And of course, we can't forget the Muffin Man, the Beefaroni King and Queen, and countless other events that made last year lots of fun and unforgettable. The end of the year came, but this time it was different. I would be in 8th grade, and I would be on stage at Continuation instead of being in the bleachers. It would be my last everything: Expo, Fall and Spring Trip, and Wonder Journal. I was nervous coming into school. I was in Jamie's class again, which was helpful. I had lots of friends and was ready to make new ones. The fall trip was awesome. Although it was my 3rd time going to Utah, I learned and saw and tried lots of new things, like bouldering with Katie. We found the biggest rock we could climb and posed on top of it. We did so many crazy things, soon we were rolling on the rock laughing. I won't forget rock climbing when Eli and Will convinced me to climb a wall that looked scary. It was flat, and there was one crack that you put your hands in, and that's how you climbed up. I was scared, but with the help and encouragement from my friends, I made it to the top. That's kind of how this year was for me. I would have been totally lost without my friends, family, and teachers. My friends were always there when I needed them. Alex Q, Bronna and Katie, Lauren, Harry, Eli, Marshall, Jeremy, Gabe, Sophia, Andrew, Reagan, Elizabeth R., Allie, Alex B., Eric, Lane, and Molly. Thank you guys so much for being there for me, even if it was 10:30 at night. Without you, I would have been totally lost. You helped me through a lot of rough spots this year. I love you guys. My family will always be behind me no matter what. Thank you, Mama Kelly, Mama Ann, Terry, Quinn, Ruby, Aunt Christy, Simone, Amy, and Shannon. If I have a bad day or need advice, I know I can always come to you. You guys kept me going through everything and helped me grow and mature and will be there for me forever. I love you, and thanks for everything. My teachers were there with me every step of the way, from when I first came to Logan and had trouble getting into the swing of things to Libby, Patty, and Jamie. Thanks for everything. You all played a huge part in my life and helped me develop skills to get me ready for what's next. High school. It's nerve-wracking to think about, but I also want to jump up and down with excitement. Thanks for everything. I'll look up and down streets, look 'em over with care. About some I will say I don't choose to go there. With my head full of brains and my shoes full of feet, I'm too smart to go down any not-so-good street.